County Sheriff's deputies were arrested in a looting investigation at the tornado-damaged Home Depot in North Dallas.
Deputies Joseph Bobadilla and Rebecca Evans are charged with felony theft of property. Bobadilla was supposed to be protecting the store, working off-duty security. Fox 4's Lynn Wynn joining us now from the Home Depot.
It's even worse than I thought, bro. So they hired her. So she's getting paid by them. It's like we can pay the sheriffs and the deputies and they'll watch the Home Depot. Meanwhile, she's back there calling her friends, yo, fucking go.
Steve, Heather, at this point, it's unclear the extent of Evans' involvement in all this, but we are told that Bobadilla worked off-duty security guarding this location here. We're told he would take items during his shift, then return them at other locations for store credit and buy whatever he wanted.
It's just shocking. He's not like that.
One after another, Dallas County Sheriff's deputies hauled out boxes of large appliances from Deputy Joseph Bobadilla's home in Garland. All items, investigators say Bobadilla bought by returning merchandise he stole while working off-duty guarding this Home Depot.
I guarantee you, he learned the method from being law enforcement. We got to give him a little bit of credit. I'm being facetious here, so I'm joking. You should never steal. Earn your own shit. It's really not that hard if you live in America, but I'm being facetious. But look, so bro, learn the method here. He's like, I'm going to be law enforcement, and I'm going to learn how the criminals do it with the secret, with the, the invest.
Ever since.
I can't believe that he did that. I can't believe it. I mean, it's just still shocking that he was bringing out evidence, a lot of it.
Monique Scott lives nearby Bobadilla and his family. Speaking through a mask from recent dental work, she told us how surprised she was to see several sheriff's deputies on her street Thursday morning.
She a little bit too surprised out there. I don't know. Can you open that garage real quick so we can see in that garage? I'm just kidding, but...
Carrying out boxes of items and large appliances while serving a search warrant.
When they pulled up, it was like 15, 16, maybe 17 Dallas Sheriff trucks. And then I saw unmarked cars. Then I saw a bunch of them just flood into the yard over there. Just a whole, like that was a raid or something.
The sheriff's department later confirmed the arrest of a second deputy, Rebecca Evans, on the same felony theft charge. Bobadilla has been with the Dallas County Sheriff's Office since July 2014 as a detention officer, then was promoted and graduated the Deputy Academy in October 2016. No one came to the door at his home when we knocked. Both he and Evans, though, face stiffer penalties if convicted because of their jobs as public servants.
She just said that they're going to face stiffer punishment because they're law enforcement and they're public officials. Stop the fucking cap. In no world, in no universe does that ever happen that way. Every time they're law enforcement, every time they're a judge, every time they're a prosecutor, every time they're a government official and they get caught and get in trouble, they get slaps on the wrist where you and I would go to prison. So this news reporter, girl, you must be smoking something funny.
The district attorney's office also warned last week it will aggressively enforce a new state law that increases the punishment for crimes in disaster areas, including theft.
It's surprising and it's kind of alarming, I guess, in a sense. They're supposed to be protecting us, but they're instead doing the opposite, stealing from things that just got destroyed.
Investigators say they were tipped off by Home Depot's corporate office, but haven't detailed how they were made aware of the alleged crimes. Home Depot, meanwhile, referred all questions to law enforcement.
All right, I looked up what his sentence was. He got 45 days in jail and 4 years probation. I told you, a slap on the wrist, nothing. Really? If you or me did that. So you telling me.
So basically, Roy is telling us slap on the wrist mean, in Punjabi, I'm going to explain you guys, like तफे तुफे मार के छड़ देना भी हटदा नहीं तू मुड़ के ना करी.
If it was a tornado or like let's say if I was down in Florida and it was a hurricane and it destroyed the area and it's a disaster situation and then I go to the Home Depot and I steal all kinds of stuff, big appliances, washer, dryers. For starters, how he even get it out there? He had to bring like a truck, a big...
County Sheriff's deputy is now facing a first-degree murder charge after fatally shooting a Mescalero Apache teenager last summer.
Body camera video shows the deputy shooting 17-year-old Elijah Hadley less than 30 seconds after seeing him along the side of the road. News 13's Madison Connor shows you what happened. A warning, the video is tough to watch.
This is the moment Otero County Sheriff's Deputy Jacob Diaz-Austin spotted 17-year-old Elijah Hadley walking along U.S. Highway 70 east of Tularosa on June 25th of last year.
Stop right there, bro. Stop. Stop. Stop right there.
Video shows Hadley stop and lift his hand to cover his eyes as the deputy asks if he's all right.
What are you doing? Let me see your other hand, bro. Let me see your other hand, dog.
Hadley tosses a gun to the side as the deputy fires 4 times, hitting Hadley.
Oh my God, bro. That literally was the most appropriate, responsible thing the person could have done walking down the street. You have a gun, you're allowed to have a gun. You know, a cop comes up for God knows what. You're walking down the street. What do you even want? Why are you coming up on me? What are you supposed to do? You have this.
Right there?
Today we're about to look at a cop who literally tried to kill a man for no reason. No reason. Well, the reason was an acorn fell from a tree. Literally, he an acorn falling from a tree.
We've got an exclusive interview with a Florida man who was shot at nearly 24 times by law enforcement, not because he was firing at them or running from them, but in fact, while he was detained in the back of a patrol car.
Shots fired! Shots fired! Shots fired!
Right there?
A lot of drama there for what a sheriff's deputy says may have been an acorn hitting a car and was mistaken as gunfire. Marquis Jackson and his attorney spoke with Jamie Yukas about their lawsuit against the sheriff's office and the changes they're looking for.
Shots fired! Shots fired! Shots fired!
This is the moment Okaloosa County Sheriff's Deputy Jesse Hernandez opened fire on his own patrol vehicle, believing he hadn't just been shot at, but hit.
I'm hit!
The fact he is yelling, "I'm hit," is fucking crazy. Not only are you not hit, an acorn just fell off a tree and tapped on your car. And there's another deputy there that unloads her gun too. They almost killed this man.
Police say Hernandez and his partner fired at least 22 rounds at the car.
Shots fired. I got a deputy down.
24-year-old Marquis Jackson was handcuffed and sitting in the back.
Do you hear the acorn hit the roof?
Nah, I don't hear no acorn at all.
Did you hear Officer Hernandez shout, "I've been hit"?
I didn't hear none of that.
So you didn't know anything that was going on outside?
Well, I ain't do nothing at all, so I'm like, why am I even here right now? So the next thing you know, all I hear is gunshots. The first one I hear come through the glass. The second one was across my face. I could feel the wind, so that's when I ducked.
What did you think was happening?
They were trying to kill me. When somebody's shooting you, that's all they could be trying to do is kill you.
The incident played out as Deputy Jesse Hernandez and Sergeant Beth Roberts responded to a domestic dispute involving Jackson's girlfriend last November. Police said she claimed he stole her car.
Here we go again with the relationship mess. We see a little bit too many of these. You know, y'all got to be careful out here with the people you're dating. If you're ever in a situation where you're in a relationship and your partner even says they're going to call the police on you or threatens to call the police. Oh, if you do that, I'll call the police. Or that if the word police is being spoken out their mouth in
gun silencer. When Jackson arrived, he says he cooperated with officers.
And I tell him, I don't got no side. Whatever she wants to do, let's do it. Because basically I knew, I didn't steal her car. I didn't do nothing wrong. They searched me a couple times, then took me to the car. And right before they put me in the car, they searched me again.
Do you have any weapons on you?
No.
Okay.
Well, I'm getting patted down for it.
Because you're getting patted down.
In a statement, the sheriff says Jackson was only patted down once. Jackson claims it was at least twice. He wasn't hurt and was never charged with a crime. An internal investigation found Hernandez's actions violated policy. He resigned, but Roberts was cleared. Neither faced criminal action.
What are the images you see that you can't get out of your head?
There's a whole lot of guns and glass falling, basically cop cars and sirens. I'm hearing noises all the time, stuff like that.
Do you think you have PTSD?
Most definitely.
As an advocate, we want to make sure that we get him the best help that he can. As a black man, I'm enraged.
DeWitt Lacey represents Jackson and filed a lawsuit against the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office.
I don't think this one's a race thing. A lot of race stuff do happen. I think that if that same officer was at like some meth addict trailer.
Turn around. Turn.
This video we're about to see today is a textbook example of why people don't have this blind faith, this blind love for law enforcement anymore. Because of cops like...
So you kidding me, Roy? It's blind faith? People hate them, man.
There's in the system's refusal to hold them accountable. This cop just violates a woman in the worst way. This big, 6-foot man and this small, petite woman just... in my view, just harasses the woman over nothing, slams the woman, brutalizes the woman, and just, even if you're not a cop, just have a sense of, morality. Why would you even want to do this if you could?
Oh, come on, Roy. Morality is away from them, bro. They are not just a human being, they are evils.
Where is your moral compass? What's going on? But you'll see a lot of cops, again, when nothing makes sense, what makes sense is a lot of sociopaths, a lot of narcissists seek out positions of power to exert.
There you go. That is the exact word for them to describe those kinds of fucking idiots.
Their insecurities and their shortcomings in life on other people. Because that's the only explanation. Because why would you want to treat somebody like what we're about to see? So, Exhibit A.
New at 6 for you, an Adrian woman is suing the Sylvania Township Police Department and 2 of its officers for $30 million for allegedly using excessive force during an incident back in 2020. Our Michael Sandlin joins us live from federal court with more details. Michael, tell us what these lawyers hope to achieve with this suit.
Jeff, the victim's lawyer released a statement to us earlier today saying that they hope to hold the officers who allegedly abused their power accountable, saying the following incident captured on dash cam camera has left lasting trauma for both the victim and her family. June 5th, 2020. Sylvania Township Police Officer John Tanner pulls up behind the vehicle of Caitlin Taylor, out making runs for her job as a grocery delivery driver. Taylor was stopped at the 2300 block of Parliament Square, trying to find her next drop-off. The officer says moments before, he had spotted that Taylor's vehicle had expired tags.
Shut it off! Stop! Shut it off!
At this point, Officer Tanner can be heard telling dispatch he's stepping out of the vehicle. According to the complaint, this is when Taylor draws his weapon and points it at Taylor as he begins yelling commands.
I'm not going to approach you until I got the car secured. So drop the keys out the window. Ma'am, you're going to go to jail. Get your hands up where I can see them. Ma'am?
Despite being confused by the commands, Taylor eventually does comply. The complaint says Officer Tanner then holsters his pistol and approaches Taylor with a taser.
Turn around and face away from me. You're about to get paid. You want to get paid? Turn around. Turn.
As Officer Tanner takes Taylor to the ground, she continues to demand for answers.
Get your hands out.
Backup then arrives in the form of Officer Michael Wyatt, and now both officers attempt to put Taylor in cuffs as she screams for help. Finally, they put her on the hood of Tanner's cruiser.
You're right, you're not in compliance.
At the time of the arrest, Taylor was charged with obstruction of justice and resisting arrest. However, those charges were later dismissed by a Sylvania Municipal Court judge.
Mind you, for a judge to have to dismiss those criminal charges, that means that the prosecutor's office pursued those charges. It wasn't the prosecutor's office that dismissed the charges and, decided not to pursue them. They went forward to try to prosecute this woman over this. They looked at that video and in their mind it's, that's good policing and she's in the wrong. But luckily here, a judge, read the Constitution and read, the statutes and common sense in that state and decided, you got to dismiss these charges. The cop's in the wrong here. And they filed a nice lawsuit against the, sheriff's office or the county or whatever now. And just ridiculous. So a cop just sees this woman with an expired, tag, which everybody at some points had an expired tag at some point. That's literally nothing. That's literally the smallest infraction you could have. It's not even a moving violation. It's not even like running a stop sign. It's not even forgetting to turn your blinker on. It's essentially it's literally the same thing as like an out tail light. Like your tail light is not working. You need to change a light bulb. And then it goes from that to he has a gun fired off, a gun shot at this woman. And he didn't fire it, but he's pointing a gun at this woman, demanding that she gets out the car. And he was giving mixed orders to her. It's like, show me your hands, put your hands up. But at the same time, simultaneously telling her to turn the car off and then throw the keys out the window. And at the same time, get out the car. Just a straight up idiot.
Now, it was later determined to be a BB gun. Hadley goes on to scream he's dying as Deputy Diaz-Austin runs around to the passenger side to grab the first aid kit.
I'm not hit. Subject down.
You can hear Diaz-Austin yell to Hadley not to move or reach for the gun, or he will get shot again. Hadley continues to yell it's a BB gun and rolls onto his stomach. The deputy then opens fire again.
Oh my God, bro. Give this deputy the fucking death penalty. Give him capital punishment in the court of law. You shoot him up more again, he's yelling it's a BB gun. He threw it down the first time you shot him. Then you shoot him 10 more times. That's because this deputy, he don't have the mental acuity and wherewithal to be a police officer in a high-stress situation like this. He's panicking and he's cracking in his mind. He's running around. I just shot him. Let me get first aid kit. I've been a law enforcement officer.
And seconds later, firing 4 more shots.
I can't render aid. I'm 10-4. I can't render aid. He's still moving and the gun's underneath him. Okay.
Diaz-Austin then asked dispatch if he should render aid. He's told to stand by.
Do you know where he was shot? In the face, in the chest, his arm, and I believe in the back of the head, like the top of his head area.
Today, the Bernalillo County District Attorney's Office charged the deputy with first-degree murder.
I got no pulse anywhere.
Madison Connor, KRQE, News 13.
The family told News 13 tonight in a statement they hope the DA's decision to charge the deputy is a step towards justice and, quote, the deputy shot Elijah 20 times. At least 15 of those shots came as he laid on the ground bleeding, unarmed and screaming in pain.
Well, there.
Police shooting in Minneapolis. A woman killed after calling 911 to report a disturbance outside. Officers' body cameras were not turned on during the incident. And ABC's Lindsay Janis is here with that story. Good morning, Lindsay.
The old body camera was off, so we don't have any video footage of the incident. Starting off as normal as it always does, right?
Good morning to you, Robin. Justine Damon was just 40 years old. She was due to be married next month. She was calling 911 to report a disturbance in the alley behind her home, but somehow she ended up dead.
Overnight, a Minnesota community coming together to mourn a 40-year-old meditation and yoga instructor who was shot by police after she called 911 to report a possible assault in the alley behind her home.
We want to remember a really peaceful, lovely woman.
The woman, Justine Damon, was originally from Australia and due to marry her fiance, Don Damon, next month. Her stepson, Zach, the first family member to arrive at the scene.
My mom is dead because the police officer shot her for reasons I don't know.
The Minneapolis Star-Tribune reports that 2 officers in one car responded to Justine's 911 call. They pulled into an alley about 100 feet behind her home, wearing her pajamas and not carrying a weapon. Justine came out to explain why she called 911. While speaking to the officer in the driver's seat, the officer in the passenger seat pulled out a gun and shot her through the driver's side door.
It makes absolutely no sense.
Statement called Trevino a man with a violent history whose failure to comply dictated their actions. Trevino has no violent crime convictions.
Were these deputies aware that he had mental illness?
I don't know how you wouldn't be aware of it. He is absolutely having a schizophrenic break, and the statements he's making are bizarre.
Trevino's attorney said none of the officers have been disciplined for the incident.
There was a finding essentially that because there was no actual policy in place on the use of this round or how to use it, no policies were violated, so therefore no disciplinary actions were taken.
So the sheriff is like, wait, guys, I got the perfect excuse. Since there's no policy, because we got this crazy weirdo weapon here, no policies were violated, so you're all in the clear. The policy is fucking common sense.
Attorneys from a man suffering from mental illness say what you're about to see never should have happened. He was in the Pasco County Jail for a misdemeanor probation violation, alone in his cell when he was shot. Fox 13's investigative reporter Tina Jensen has the rest of the story and some dramatic video recorded by one of the corrections officers who was there. Tell us more, Tina.
Right, and that shooting was first reported in the Tampa Bay Times this morning. It left Matthew Trevino in the VA hospital for months, where he underwent multiple surgeries. And a warning, what happened is hard to watch. The day Matthew Trevino arrived at the Pasco County Jail, he was alone in his cell when deputies wanted to search him. But Trevino, according to his attorney, who provided Fox 13 with this jail video, was in the midst of a schizophrenic episode and would not put his hands through the door.
Due to confusing, we're gonna deploy a Nova round.
A Nova round was created for situations like SWAT teams breaking into buildings. It's a distraction device, like a flashbang grenade, but fired from a shotgun. The company's own warnings say it's not supposed to be used to fire at humans or even animals.
There's no reason at this point that they have to force their way in to the cell. This is not an emergency situation. They certainly don't need to use this level of force. Later, when the officers filed their reports, they claimed that Mr. Trevino had backed away from the door and that the round ricocheted off the floor and struck him, which is just 100% false. And you can see it in the video as we continue. You can see that when he fired at him, he was right up against the door. Completely unnecessary.
Sheriff Chris Nacco, in a statement, called Trevino a man with a violent history whose failure to comply dictated their actions.
And then you got the
department saying the officers' body cameras were not turned on and the squad car did not capture the incident. Both officers on leave this morning. The community desperate for answers.
I am heartsick and deeply disturbed. I have a lot of questions about why the body cameras weren't on.
All right, Mayor, what do you mean you got a lot of questions why the body camera wasn't on? They were planning to do something they had no business doing. They just probably did it to the wrong person.
Poles between Justine's house and the alley. Most garages in the vicinity had motion detection lights. The body cam rollout for Minneapolis police was complete following last year's death of Philando Castile, who was shot and killed by a cop while his girlfriend captured it on Facebook live stream. A month ago, the officer in that case was acquitted.
Justine's fiance was away on a business trip when she was killed. Investigators are still scouring the area for possible security video.
So the officer ended up getting charged and convicted of murder, but when he appealed it, the appeals courts reversed the jury's verdict and the court's verdict of murder, and they say it doesn't, what he did don't count as murder, even though
we've been following for months. It was sentencing day for former police chief. Donald Solomon told undercover agents he was the best cop money could buy, and now he's going to prison for it. Channel 11's Alan Jennings is live with the video that led to his conviction and the punishment that was handed down today. Alan.
Got slammed, Vince. 11 years, 3 months.
stood before the judge and apologized to his children, the FBI, law enforcement in general, for violating his personal and public trust. The former East Washington police chief left the courthouse. His public defender attorney told him not to talk to me. U.S. Attorney David Hickton, meanwhile, called the 11-year sentence most appropriate.
The videotapes showing actual drug transactions where he was using his uniform, his police car, and operating in a fashion to protect the transaction and then escort the perpetrators to Interstate 79 was beyond chilling.
Here's that FBI surveillance video of then Police Chief Don Solomon meeting with who Solomon thought were drug dealers. They were actually FBI agents and FBI informants.
Purchased law enforcement tasers for a purported drug dealer to use those tasers in collection activities were shocking, to say the least.
During a year-long investigation, secretly shot FBI video also captured Solomon delivering his intentions to make thousands of dollars protecting cocaine dealers. And that's not all.
There was another line that captured some attention where he was asked if he wanted to continue in this type of behavior, and he said, hell yeah.
Bro said, hell yeah.
Check your fellow officer for me, please. Hell no, he just touched me. I heard the other bed pop.
Only on 9, a former CNPD officer caught on body camera video charged with stealing cash from a man who was in custody. I'm Scott Wickersham.
And I'm Hannah Getz. We petitioned the court to get this exclusive video just 3 months after Officer Henry Chapman's arrest. Channel 9's Evan Donovan takes us through every moment.
This is video you'll only see on Channel 9 this evening. It shows the confrontation between former CMPD officer Henry Chapman and a man who'd been pulled over for speeding, then arrested. And a crucial piece of Officer Chapman's body camera video is missing.
Good. Hey, the clock is 68, okay? That's why I'm stopping you.
We're not naming the man who was arrested here because his charges are not relevant to this case. But you can see him getting pulled over, accused of speeding.
Give me a moment, all right?
He's then arrested on an outstanding warrant from U.S. Marshals for weapons violations. When he arrived back at the station, you can hear as he accused Officer Chapman of stealing some of the cash he had on him.
Can you just check on the 20?
Sir, listen to me.
He's moving and everything. Look, he's moving. Sir, I'm good.
Sir, listen to me. Tell me how much cash he had on you. What was the amount?
I just want to see. I'm not going to lie. Can you check? I'm not going nowhere. Can you check your fellow officer for me, please?
As one officer continues asking how much cash should be there, the man in handcuffs is staring at Officer Chapman, announcing his every move.
Look at him moving. He's moving. Oh, my God. Y'all not going to check him?
Finally, the man convinced the other officers to check Chapman's car, and they found what the man said was missing. Around $1,000 still inside.
No, yeah, look, no cap. I'm not even going to touch it. It's blue hunters right here.
Caught him. All right, we got good cops. And it's always women. That's why I'm telling you, remember this. If you ever have a woman in charge, whether you have a woman who is your judge in a case, a woman police officer,
and was assigned to the South Central Patrol Division.
The body of 31-year-old Lisa Sines found with multiple gunshot wounds in the 200 block of Santa Fe Trail near the Trinity River in March of 2017. Police say she was kidnapped and then shot and killed at the location. Police arrested these 3 men and charged them with capital murder, their charges still pending. According to court documents, one of the 3 is the witness who outed Reiser's involvement to police in August 2019. Police say that witness told them Reiser first contacted him about a plot to rob drug houses based on information provided by Reiser. But the witness told police Reiser changed plans and instead asked the witness to kill a man by the name of Albert Douglas for $3,500.
Mr. Douglas was reported missing by his family in February of 2017. According to witnesses, he was also kidnapped and murdered in the 200 block of Santa Fe Avenue. Unfortunately, his body was never recovered.
Police say Sines was the second hit, allegedly ordered 2 weeks later by Reiser for $6,000. But Reiser never paid because the 3 men were arrested. Court documents say FBI analysis placed Reiser's cell phone and squad car at locations where the witness says they met to plan the kidnappings and murders.
The motive for these murders are unknown at this time. This remains an ongoing investigation.
Hold up, we got a major plot.
Officer is charged with 2 counts of capital murder. Hello, I'm Blake Hansen.
Hi, everybody. I'm Heather Hayes. Police say Officer Brian Reiser ordered the murders of a man and woman in 2017. He was also arrested that same year for a misdemeanor assault family violence charge apparently unrelated to those killings. Fox 4's Natalie Solis live at the Dallas Police Department with the story. Natalie.
Well, Heather, Reiser has been with the department for 13 years, and police say these latest charges are not related to his work as an officer. Now, he has been under investigation since August of 2019, remaining on the job until his arrest this morning.
This criminal investigation dates back to 2017 with the death of 2 unrelated murder victims.
A month into his new job, Dallas Police Chief Eddie Garcia announcing capital murder charges against one of their own. 36-year-old Officer Brian Reiser, seen here in a mugshot from a previous family violence arrest, now charged with ordering the murders of 2 people, a man and woman, who police only characterize as acquaintances of Reiser.
Our J.D. Miles, right outside the Dallas County Jail, where Brian Reiser walked free just a short time ago. J.D., walk us through what happened and why we're at this point.
Doug, Brian Reiser walked out of the Dallas County Jail, as you said, about 15 minutes ago. We have some video of it we're going to show you now. We were told he was going to speak by his attorneys. There was a podium set up by the news crews. He didn't quite follow that plan. He walked away from the podium. He said a few words. He spoke very softly. It was hard actually to hear what he was saying, but he did seem to be very relieved to be out of jail. Last month, it looked like the former Dallas police officer could spend the rest of his life in prison if convicted of capital murder. But after today's decision by a judge, there's talk that he can conceivably try to get his job back.
When OSHA does an audit, generally they're going to want to see safety training records, maintenance records for...
A judge has ordered the release of former Dallas police officer Brian Reiser after she found insufficient evidence that he could have solicited the murders of 2 people in 2017. His attorney asked for an examining trial, which can speed up the legal process and have a judge look at the merits of the case before it goes to a grand jury. Judge Audrey Moorhead presided over that this morning, which included a look at the evidence and testimony from the lead homicide detective over the investigation. Reiser had been secretly investigated for more than 2 years while still on patrol as a Dallas police officer after one of 3 men accused of killing 2 people told authorities that Reiser offered money to commit the murders. But that claim by a violent convicted felon is about all the evidence detectives have on Reiser, who was arrested and fired shortly after by Dallas Police Chief Eddie Garcia, who took over the department. Reiser's attorney accused the chief of rushing to judgment against Reiser and acting prematurely, ruining the officer's career and reputation.
Apparently what happened is when Chief Garcia was briefed on it, he gives the order to arrest him, and Detective Montenegro said he wasn't ready. He wanted to continue to investigate, but he had to follow his chain of command, which triggered all this. That's the major problem with this case, is the decision by Chief Garcia to order that arrest. Why he did that, what information he was given, I think it had to be obviously faulty information he was relying on.
Reiser's attorney, Toby Shook, got the homicide detective on the stand.
We're going to hear the homicide detective. Hold on, but... Oh, man, bro. I've never seen a plot twist like this in my life.
Wasn't true.
That statement is not true. No.
Okay. But you typed it out and put it in there, correct?
I made a mistake, yes.
The judge ordered Reiser to be immediately released after a month in custody. Now, I've got a statement from Dallas County District Attorney John Creuzot, who released a statement saying that he thought the evidence was flimsy. In fact, his statement says, because of this office's obligations under the law, we alerted the defense team and the judge of our opinion that there currently is insufficient corroboration of co-defendant statements and accomplice testimony to prosecute the case. I spoke to the head of the Dallas Police Association, Mike Mata. He told me that if Reiser is cleared of the charges, he would be within his rights as a former officer to seek reinstatement. But Dallas police just released their own statement saying they still believe Reiser had something to do with these murders and that he violated other policy violations that will make it very difficult for him to get back on the force if he indeed tries to do that.
And then the police department is over here saying, nah, he ain't coming back working over here. We don't care what the court say, the district attorney say. But he sued. Check this out.
Tonight, we are getting some insight into a $300,000 settlement between the city of Dallas and a former police officer.
Brian Reiser says a detective wrongfully accused him of murder and orchestrated his arrest. As senior investigative reporter Tanya Iser reports, tonight he's cashing in.
That was former Dallas police officer Brian Reiser the day a judge released him from jail. The judge's order had just thrown out 2 counts of capital murder. Now, a new victory. The city's agreed to a settlement paying him more than 3 years of back pay. It's expected to be about $300,000. The agreement also reinstated Reiser in exchange for his resignation.
It shows that he shouldn't have been terminated in the first place. He's going to, receive compensation that will allow him to move forward with his life without this hopefully hanging over his head.
Those attorneys are ass. I said earlier that he had some really good attorneys. They were good to find a lie, but did my boy dirty. But continue talking.
His attorneys, Toby Shook and Robert Rogers.
There is no evidence Brian Reiser participated, was accomplice in a capital murder case.
He was taken into custody this morning.
On March 4th, 2021, Dallas Police Chief Eddie Garcia announced Reiser's arrest. The warrants, written by Detective Esteban Montenegro, accused Reiser of hiring a hitman to kill 2 people in 2017. The case rested on the word of a convicted killer named Emmanuel Kilpatrick. Kilpatrick claimed Reiser, his high school classmate, hired him.
I still feel there's enough probable cause there.
Montenegro sought to explain errors in the warrant he wrote in the 2021 hearing that resulted in Reiser's release.
And the third error was a cut and paste error that I didn't read.
What he called a third error wrongly claimed Reiser was in and around the area where the 2 victims were killed.
The detective decided what his theory was within the first hour of appearing on the scene and was going to make every fact fit that way, whether it did or not.
Reiser filed a lawsuit against Montenegro in 2022. The detective has denied any wrongdoing. In Dallas, I'm Tanya Iser.
There is growing outrage today over the death of an inmate in a New York State prison who was brutally beaten by more than a dozen correction officers. Detainee advocates are concerned it's part of a larger culture of violence within the state's correctional system. Laura Barone Lopez has our look and a warning to our viewers. The video, which we will show only in part, is very disturbing.
Body cam footage shows Robert Brooks repeatedly kicked, punched, and choked after arriving at the Marcy Correctional Facility on December 9th. Brooks had been serving a 12-year sentence for an assault in 2017. It is unclear why he was transferred to the Central New York prison. At one point, one officer yanks him by the neck and drops his semi-conscious body on an examination table. The beating lasted roughly 20 minutes. Brooks died the following morning. In a statement, an attorney for the Brooks family said, Mr. Brooks was fatally, violently beaten by a group of officers whose job was to keep him safe. He deserved to live. New York Governor Kathy Hochul has requested the termination of 13 guards and 1 nurse implicated in the assault. After visiting the facility where Brooks was beaten, Governor Hochul released a statement yesterday, saying in part, "The system failed Mr. Brooks, and I will not be satisfied until there has been significant culture change." In the aftermath of Brooks's death, community leaders and activists are calling for justice and reform.
Just because individuals are incarcerated doesn't mean that they give up their rights to be human beings.
Now let me add, guards involved in the assault against Brooks were previously accused of beating inmates in a similar manner. As of today, none of the 14 employees implicated have been charged with wrongdoing. But New York State Attorney General Letitia James promised a full investigation.
Because I have a responsibility and duty to provide the Brooks family, their loved ones, and all New Yorkers with transparency and accountability.
Authorities have not released an official cause of death for Brooks, but according to court documents, the medical examiner's preliminary findings show, quote, concern for asphyxia due to compression of the neck.
More tonight about the allegations against a Bethel police officer. She is accused of helping her brother evade a deadly crash in Shelton. That officer turned herself in to state police this week. We learn more tonight. News 12 Connecticut's Marissa Alter.
Jasenia Biamonte joined Bethel police in 2016, according to an old post on the department's Facebook page. The 32-year-old patrol officer now finds herself on the other side of the law. Biamonte is charged with accessory to evading responsibility, third-degree hindering prosecution, and interfering with an officer in connection to a crash in Shelton that killed 14-year-old Chloe Ramsabag. Biamonte wasn't directly part of the crash, but her brother was, and according to her arrest warrant, she knowingly and willfully impeded a police investigation, delayed contacting police and emergency services, and utilized her professional law enforcement training and knowledge to obstruct and hinder the investigation of this collision. Police say Biamonte's brother had been drinking before he caused the three-vehicle collision around 12:40 in the morning on January 12th of last year. According to the warrant, he fled the scene and called his sister, who picked him up at a nearby parking lot, but waited an hour and 16 minutes to call 911 and report. The Bethel Police Department takes these matters seriously and holds its members to high professional and ethical standards. Maintaining public trust is a priority for this department, and we are committed to transparency while respecting due process. We will cooperate fully with the investigating agency. Biamonte is currently free on a $25,000 bond. Her attorney told News 12, "My client maintains her absolute innocence. That being said, we are not oblivious to the tragic loss of life in this case, and we wish the family of the victim nothing but the best in this very difficult time."
End up wrongly accused of armed robbery. The person accusing them, an off-duty Chicago police officer. An officer CBS 2's Dave Savini has been following because of other complaints and incidents. Here's Dave with this original report.
I was terrified. Guns being in our face.
Police guns were pointed at these teens suspected of armed robbery at this 7-Eleven.
They put a gun right here and it was a gun to the left.
But store surveillance footage obtained by the two investigators clearly shows there was no robbery. Austin, Christopher, and a friend who don't want their last names used were 16 when they were wrongly accused by this Chicago cop. I'm Dave Savini from Channel 2. Officer Michelle Morsi Murphy, who was parked in a disabled parking spot when we found her, was off duty the night she called 911, claiming the teens were armed and fleeing.
I see a knife.
She first told the 911 operator this guy was the robber.
A gray hoodie, a white guy.
Then she pinned it on the teens.
There's three men left.
Next, she claimed the teens robbed this gas station.
I guarantee you they robbed this gas station.
Responding officers stopped the teen's car in this Mount Greenwood neighborhood.
I had my hands in the air, gun to the back of my head, slammed on the ground on my kneecaps, and somebody put their knee on the back of my head, and I was cuffed from that point forward.
There's an allegation that you called 911 and made a bogus robbery call. The police didn't tell you that it was an off-duty cop that did this.
Nope, not at all.
Raise your hand and say, "Lord Jesus."
Reverend Catherine Brown had her own run-in with the same officer. So all you wanted to do is get into your driveway.
That's it.
Brown calls it a case of road rage that ultimately led to Morsi Murphy ramming her squad into Brown's car, despite Brown's two small children being inside. Morsi Murphy used pepper spray and pointed her gun at Brown, and other officers dragged her to the ground.
Beat me down to my underwear.
The fact that when the news reporter caught up to this disgusting vermin, she was parked in a handicap spot going in to get food. She's not handicapped, just taking that spot as a law enforcement officer is just so gross. It just boggles the mind. America.
Because of our investigation, IPRA is now investigating Morsi Murphy for the Brown case. In the teen's case, the officer got a 30-day suspension. Do you think a 30-day suspension was enough?
No.
She still has a gun.
She put us in a ton of danger because all of the officers had their guns out. They were ready to shoot. They were ready to get us. They were ready to, react to an armed robber.
Morsi Murphy has had 19 complaints in 10 years, including arresting a woman for felony drug possession. The so-called illegal drug was a prescription for the woman's elderly mother. A wrongful arrest lawsuit against the city by that woman was settled. Catherine Brown has an ongoing legal case over her experience with Morsi Murphy, and the teens are also planning on suing, and the city still not commenting because of the lawsuits.
And level idea. This is like a basic idea that should be done.
New video tonight shows how a disgraced former Winnipeg police officer was caught in the act. The undercover video and audio recordings were part of the evidence shown in court at Elston Bostock's sentencing hearing. CTV's John Hendricks is standing by live to tell us more. So, John, what do these video and audio recordings show?
Mary Lee, the video shows what happened during the first of two police integrity tests that Bostock was put through, which happened in October of 2024. Now, in this video, Bostock, who was sitting in the passenger seat, and another officer had just left the scene of a vehicle break-in and seized a backpack. Now, unbeknownst to them, the entire event was staged.
You're going to want to look in there. Yeah. Okay. Let's go around the corner. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Not here. Not here. No. Here, let's go in here. I'm going to see what their camera is. Yeah. Yeah. There's a fanny pack in the bag. Yeah. You'll be a guy. I'll be a Pretty sure. Pretty sure. Are you big city today? I'm pretty sure you're going to like what's in there. I purposely didn't take it out of the fanny pack. I just opened it up. And you're like, yeah, you're going to like that. Yeah, and I zipped it back up. You're like, I never saw it.
Another video shows what happens next as Bostock goes to the trunk and rifles through the bag, pocketing $75 in cash and some inert drugs, which were made to look like Xanax pills and meth. The pair then return to the cruiser, divide up the cash, and discuss how to spend it. The other officer is also facing breach of trust charges as a result of the integrity test.
You raises serious questions.
Another audio recording presented to court shows Bostock coaching a fellow officer on how to have someone's traffic ticket dropped. Take a listen.
I told him I know you, so like if he could go and just say, yeah, I plead guilty with an explanation, right? Yeah. And then you guys go to court, you show up and you say to the Crown, like, yeah, you know what, I found out stuff came to light later. He had an explanation. Like, I just like to drop the charge. I just like to drop the ticket. I've never done that before. I've done it, and it works. Believe me, because they got
at an upstate New York prison that was caught on body cam videos.
And David Kingsley was among several other officers involved in the attack on Robert Brooks's life at Marcy Correctional Facility last December. A jury in October found Kingsley guilty after they were shown footage of him holding Brooks, who was in handcuffs by the neck, and lifting him as officers surrounded him. Yesterday, Brooks' son and brother shared their impact statements in the courtroom.
Last December, I watched you beat my father to death on camera. You showed my dad no mercy at all.
My brother used to say, to err is human, to forgive is divine. For us, forgiveness will take a long road, just like the path through grief and the trudge towards justice.
Special prosecutors say the case marks the first time a New York State correctional officer has been convicted and sentenced for an inmate's murder.
Yeah, it's the first time because they've been getting away with it for decades and decades and decades and decades, just killing inmates. Obviously, it's because now we have body cameras, now we have video cameras. And even though we have body cameras and video cameras, we only caught this